Are more stimulus checks on the way? It's a question that seems to resurface every few months, no matter what's happening in Washington. Even as official statements say otherwise, the hope for another round of direct payments never quite disappears from public conversation. This question keeps popping up, fueled by social media and word of mouth. Posts and videos spread rapidly, with some claiming insider knowledge or sharing supposed leaks about new stimulus plans. It's easy for these rumors to gain traction, especially when so many people are searching for financial relief. The appeal of extra money is strong, especially as families juggle tight budgets. Rising costs for groceries, rent, and utilities put pressure on households, making the idea of a surprise check from the government incredibly tempting. For many, even a hint of possible help is enough to spark hope and conversation. Rumors thrive on economic pressures, memories of past relief, and political chatter. When politicians debate economic policy or mention the possibility of new aid, it can be misinterpreted as a promise. News headlines and sound bites often get shared out of context, adding fuel to the fire. Viral headlines often mislead, making proposals seem like done deals. Sensational stories and clickbait articles can exaggerate or distort the facts, making it hard to know what's actually happening. Sometimes, even well-meaning friends and family share these stories, unintentionally spreading misinformation. The digital echo chamber blurs lines between talk and action. Online, speculation and rumors can quickly become accepted as truth, especially when repeated by multiple sources. It becomes difficult to separate genuine updates from wishful thinking or outright fabrications. Economic discussions, like those from former President Trump, add to the mix. When high-profile figures mention stimulus or economic relief, even in passing, it can reignite speculation and keep the rumor mill turning. People see dollar figures and assume checks are imminent, despite no legislative action. The memory of previous stimulus payments lingers, making it easy to believe that another round could be just around the corner, even when there's no official movement in Congress. It's crucial to separate fact from fiction to avoid scams and disappointment. Scammers often take advantage of these rumors, sending fake emails or texts promising quick cash in exchange for personal information. Staying informed and cautious is more important than ever. Tonight, we'll clarify what's real and what's just noise. We'll break down the latest facts, debunk the most common myths, and help you understand where things really stand with stimulus checks, so you can protect yourself and your family from misinformation. As of November 14, 2025, no new federal stimulus payments are coming. Despite rumors, Congress hasn't passed any new legislation for economic impact payments. The IRS has no plans for new checks or deposits. Online claims of upcoming payments are false. Federal payment processes are complex and haven't been initiated. Some states have their own relief programs, separate from federal actions. Check state websites for accurate local payment info. Nationwide stimulus chatter is unfounded. Rely on official sources. The hope for aid is real, but it must align with current legislative realities. Trust only official government sources for the truth. The recent payments issued by the IRS have marked the official end of the 2021 Recovery Rebate Credit. It's important to understand that these were not new rounds of stimulus, but rather the final distribution of funds that were originally authorized years ago. Many Americans were surprised to see government checks arrive in late 2024 and early 2025, leading to questions about whether new relief was being offered. In reality, these payments were simply the last chapter in a program that began during the height of the pandemic. The 2021 Recovery Rebate Credit was a key part of the American Rescue Plan, which aimed to provide direct financial support to individuals and families struggling during COVID-19. Eligible recipients were promised up to $1,400 per person, a lifeline for many during uncertain times. The program was designed to reach as many Americans as possible, but not everyone received their payment right away. Some people missed out on their payments because they hadn't filed their tax returns, or their information was incomplete or outdated. The IRS spent months tracking down these cases, sending letters and reminders, and working to ensure that no one who qualified was left behind. This catch-up effort took longer than expected, stretching into 2024 and even 2025 for some. As a result, when these final payments arrived years after the original program was announced, many recipients were understandably confused. Some wondered if this was a new round of stimulus, or if additional aid was on the way. The timing, so far removed from the initial relief efforts, made it easy to mistake these checks for something new. In truth, these were not new benefits, but rather the last payments owed to people who had been missed the first time around. The IRS reissued checks and sent out final notices to close the books on the program. With these final payments, the initiative is now officially complete. The 2021 relief chapter has been closed, and all authorized funds have been distributed to those who qualified. Understanding this process helps explain why some people recently received government checks, even though no new stimulus program was announced. It's simply the conclusion of a long-running effort to ensure everyone received the help they were promised. These checks represent old, previously authorized funds, not new payments or additional aid. If you received one, it's because you were eligible back in 2021, but your payment was delayed. The IRS has now closed the Recovery Rebate Credit program for 2021. No further action is required, and no more payments will be sent out under this initiative. There will be no future federal payments from this program. The story of the 2021 Recovery Rebate Credit has come to an end, bringing closure to a significant chapter in pandemic relief history. The final chance to claim the 2021 Recovery Rebate Credit was by filing a 2021 tax return. Even those without a filing requirement could file to claim it. The deadline was April 15, 2025, with no extensions. Missing this deadline means the opportunity is gone. This marks the end of the last major federal stimulus program. Any claims of ongoing eligibility are outdated. The IRS has moved on, and resources are no longer dedicated to this. The chapter is closed. Focus now shifts to new proposals. The 2021 credit door is shut. Attention turns to current realities. Federal payment discussions must now focus on new initiatives. With past programs over, attention shifts to new proposals like the tariff dividend. Proposed by former President Trump, it's not law yet, just a concept. The idea is to use tariff revenue for direct payments to Americans. Suggested payments are $2,000 per person, funded by taxes on imports. The goal is to benefit American households and encourage domestic production. Any leftover funds would help reduce the national debt. For this to happen, Congress must pass complex legislation. Currently, no such law exists. It's still in discussion. Don't expect tariff dividend payments yet. It's a proposal, not reality. Understanding this helps manage expectations and avoid misinformation. If enacted, a tariff dividend would fundamentally change how the U.S. government uses money collected from trade. Instead of simply adding tariff revenue to the general federal budget, this approach would redirect those funds in a new, targeted way, directly back to the American people. The idea is to create a more visible link between trade policy and household finances, making the impact of tariffs more tangible for everyday citizens. Under this system, tariffs imposed on imported goods would serve as the primary funding source for these dividends. Every time a product crosses the border and a tariff is collected, that money would be pooled together to fund payments distributed to eligible Americans. This means that the more imports subject to tariffs, the larger the pool of money available for dividends. The U.S. Treasury would be responsible for managing these funds, ensuring that tariff revenue is set aside specifically for dividend payments. Unlike other government revenues, these funds would not be used for unrelated expenses or programs, but would be earmarked solely for this purpose, creating a transparent and accountable process. Payments would likely be distributed using familiar methods, such as direct deposits into bank accounts or mailed checks, similar to how past stimulus payments were handled. This approach would make it easy for most Americans to receive their share of the tariff dividend without needing to take extra steps. The actual amount each person receives would depend on the total tariff revenue collected, which can vary based on the volume of imports and the specific tariff rates in place. If imports increase or tariffs are raised, the dividend pool grows. If imports fall or tariffs are lowered, the pool shrinks. This means that the size of the dividend could change from year to year or even quarter to quarter, depending on global trade patterns and policy decisions. Higher tariffs or more imports mean more money for dividends, while trade retaliation or reduced imports could shrink the payments. Economists and policymakers are actively debating whether this plan is practical and what its broader effects might be. Some argue it could help offset the higher prices caused by tariffs, while others worry about unintended consequences. Critics warn that tariffs often lead to higher prices for consumers, since importers may pass on the extra costs. Supporters, however, believe that the dividend could help American families cope with these price increases and that it might encourage more domestic production and job growth. Because the proposal is complex and would affect many parts of the economy, lawmakers and experts say it requires careful study and thoughtful design before it could be put into practice. The ongoing economic debate highlights both the potential opportunities and the significant challenges of enacting a tariff dividend, making it a topic of national conversation and careful scrutiny. The tariff dividend wouldn't be universal. It's income-based, targeted at middle and low-income individuals, excluding high earners. Proposed income cap, $100,000 or less for eligibility. This narrows who receives the payment, focusing on working-class Americans. Eligibility details would be defined in any passed law. Factors like income cap application and dependent children would be considered. Current criteria are part of early discussions, subject to change. Even if enacted, not everyone will qualify. Focus remains on lower incomes. Scammers exploit buzz about government payments. Stay alert. They create urgency, using official-looking tactics to deceive. Unsolicited requests for personal info are red flags. The IRS doesn't contact via email, text, or social media for sensitive info. Hang up on threatening calls claiming to be the IRS. Real payments are free. Fees indicate scams. Scammers prefer untraceable payments like gift cards or cryptocurrency. Avoid links in unexpected messages. They may lead to fake sites. Always verify by typing official website addresses directly. Stay vigilant to protect your finances from scams. In a world of fast-spreading rumors, rely on official sources for accuracy. For federal payments, trust the IRS and Treasury websites. IRS.gov and Treasury.gov provide reliable, up-to-date information. Bookmark these sites and check them directly for updates. Be skeptical of unverified online information. Check sources. Proposals are not programs until passed by Congress and signed into law. Our goal is to provide facts amidst the noise. No new federal payments are scheduled for November 2025. Stay informed through official channels to avoid false hope. Trustworthy sources and patience are key to navigating these discussions.